Mafia boss noticed the waitress's eye bruises. Dominic Caruso sat in his usual corner booth at Rosie's Diner, the same spot he'd occupied every Thursday for the past 5 years. The diner was nothing special. Red vinyl seats patched with duct tape. Checkered floors that had seen better decades. Coffee that tasted like it had been brewing since morning. But the food was honest, the staff didn't ask questions, and it was far enough from his usual territory that he could eat in peace without being recognized by every street corner hustler looking to make an impression. He was halfway through his meatloaf when she approached his table. New waitress. He could tell immediately. She moved differently than the regulars. More nervous. More careful. Like she was afraid of making a mistake. "Can I get you anything else?" she asked, her voice soft but professional. She held the coffee pot with both hands, though it was barely half full. Dominic looked up to answer, and the words died in his throat. Her left eye was swollen nearly shut. Purple and black bruising spread from her cheekbone to her eyebrow. A small cut on her lip had scabbed over, but was still fresh. Maybe a day old. 2 at most. She tried to cover it with makeup, but the fluorescent diner lights were unforgiving. "What happened to your face?" Dominic asked directly. No point dancing around it. The waitress's free hand instinctively touched near her eye, then dropped quickly. "I'm fine. Just clumsy." Walked into a door. Her smile was practiced. Rehearsed. The kind of lie she'd told before. Dominic had been in his business long enough to know what a beating looked like. This wasn't clumsiness. This was someone's fist connecting with her face. Hard. Repeatedly. "That must have been some door," Dominic said, his tone making it clear he didn't believe her. She shifted uncomfortably. "Really, I'm okay. Can I get you more coffee?" "What's your name?" Dominic asked instead. "Emily," she said after a hesitation. "Emily Brooks." "Emily, I'm going to ask you one more time. What happened to your face?" Emily's eyes darted around the diner, making sure no one was listening, making sure no one was watching. "Sir, I appreciate the concern, but it's really none of your business." "I'm fine." "You're not fine," Dominic said flatly. "Someone put their hands on you. Recently. And from the look of it, this isn't the first time." Emily's facade cracked. Just for a second. Fear flashed in her eyes. Real fear. Not of him. Of something else. Someone else. "Please," she whispered. "Just drop it. I can't afford to lose this job." Before Dominic could respond, the diner door swung open. A man walked in. Late 30s. Athletic build. Expensive jacket over a cheap shirt. The kind of guy who wanted people to think he had money but was drowning in debt. His eyes scanned the diner until they landed on Emily. Emily's entire body went rigid. The coffee pot trembled in her hands. The man walked straight to her. Ignored Dominic completely. "I've been calling you for 2 hours. Why haven't you answered your phone?" "I'm working, Derek," Emily said quietly. "I told you my shift doesn't end until 10. "I don't care what time your shift ends," Derek said, his voice rising. "When I call, you answer. We clear." Several diners turned to look. The cook peered through the kitchen window. This was turning into a scene. "Derek, please," Emily said, glancing around nervously. "Not here. I'll call you on my break." "You'll call me now." Derek grabbed her wrist. Hard. The coffee pot nearly slipped from her other hand. That's when Dominic stood up. He didn't say anything at first. Just stood. All 6'3" of him. 220 pounds of controlled violence wrapped in an expensive suit. The kind of presence that made rooms go quiet. Derek finally noticed him. "Something I can help you with?" "Yeah," Dominic said calmly. "You can let go of her wrist." Derek's grip tightened instead. "Mind your own business, old man." Dominic smiled. It wasn't a friendly smile. "That waitress is serving me, which makes her my business. Now let go of her wrist before I break yours." The entire diner went silent. Forks stopped moving. Conversations died mid-sentence. Even the jukebox seemed to quiet down. Derek looked Dominic up and down, trying to calculate if this was a fight worth having. Whatever he saw made him hesitate. But his pride wouldn't let him back down completely. "This is between me and my girlfriend," Derek said. "So why don't you sit back down and finish your meatloaf before you get hurt?" Dominic's expression didn't change. "Last chance. Let her go." Derek made his mistake. He shoved Emily backward. She stumbled, caught herself on a nearby table. The coffee pot shattered on the floor. Dominic moved. It happened so fast most people missed it. 1 second Derek was standing. The next he was face down on the checkered floor with his arm twisted behind his back at an angle that made people wince. Dominic's knee pressed into Derek's spine. His hand controlled Derek's wrist with surgical precision. You like putting your hands on women? Dominic asked quietly. Only Derek and the people closest could hear. Let's see how you do when someone can actually fight back. Derek struggled. Tried to break free. Dominic applied more pressure. Derek screamed. Stop. Emily rushed forward. Please, you're hurting him. That's the point, Dominic replied without releasing Derek. He looked up at Emily. This the guy who gave you those bruises? Emily didn't answer. She didn't have to. Her silence said everything. Dominic looked at the cook who'd emerged from the kitchen. Call the police. Tell them there's been an assault. Show them the waitress's face when they get here. No, Emily said desperately. Please don't. It'll just make things worse. Worse than what? Dominic asked. Worse than him beating you. Worse than you coming to work with a black eye trying to pretend everything's fine. You don't understand. Emily's voice broke. If he gets arrested, he'll know I called them. When he gets out, he'll come after me. He'll kill me. Dominic finally looked at her directly. Really looked at her. Saw past the bruises to the exhaustion. The fear. The desperation of someone who'd been trapped so long they'd forgotten what freedom looked like. He's not going to touch you again, Dominic said with absolute certainty. Ever. You can't promise that, Emily whispered. Yes, Dominic replied. I can. Sirens wailed in the distance. Getting closer. Derek tried one more time to break free. Dominic shifted his weight. Derek's face ground into the floor. Emily, Dominic said. Go in the back. Get your things. When the police are done taking your statement, you're leaving with me. What? Emily looked confused. Scared. I don't even know you. My name is Dominic Caruso, he said. And by tomorrow morning, everyone in this city will know what happens to men who put their hands on women under my protection. The way he said it made something clear. This wasn't just some concerned customer. This was someone with power. Real power. The kind that made abusers disappear. Derek must have realized it too because he suddenly went very still. Wait. Caruso? As in the Caruso family. Dominic's smile was cold. Now you're paying attention. 2 police cars pulled up outside. Officers entered the diner. Took in the scene. The man on the floor. The standing customer who looked too calm. The waitress with the black eye. One of the officers, a sergeant named Martinez, recognized Dominic immediately. His expression shifted. This just got complicated. Mr. Caruso, Martinez said carefully. What happened here? This man assaulted his girlfriend, Dominic said. She's the waitress. Emily Brooks. Look at her face. Then look at his hands. I'm sure you'll find her skin under his fingernails if you check. Martinez looked at Emily. Saw the bruises. His jaw tightened. Ma'am, is this true? Emily looked between Dominic, Derek, and the police officer. This was the moment. The choice. Tell the truth and risk everything. Or protect her abuser one more time and pray he didn't kill her next time. She took a shaky breath. Yes, he hit me. Last night. And the night before that. And at least a dozen times before that. Derek's face went red. You lying. Dominic's knee pressed harder. Derek's words turned into a gasp of pain. Read him his rights, Martinez said to his partner. And get paramedics to check on Miss Brooks. As Derek was hauled to his feet and cuffed, he looked at Emily with pure hatred. You're going to regret this. You hear me? You're dead. Threatening her in front of police officers. Dominic said conversationally. Not your smartest move. Derek was dragged out still shouting threats. The diner slowly came back to life. Conversations resumed. But everyone was looking at Dominic and Emily. Watching. Waiting to see what happened next. Emily stood trembling. Shock setting in. What did I just do? Oh God, what did I just do? You took the first step, Dominic said gently. Now we take the rest of them together. Emily sat in the back office of the diner, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders despite the warmth of the room. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The paramedics had checked her over, documented her injuries with photographs that made her feel exposed and ashamed. The police had taken her statement. Every detail, every punch, every threat, every time she'd called for help and been ignored. Now they were gone. Derek was gone. And she was alone with a man who'd just dismantled her entire life in less than 10 minutes. Dominic Caruso sat across from her, his expensive suit somehow still immaculate despite physically restraining a man twice his age. He'd ordered coffee from the cook. Real coffee, not the diner's usual burnt offering. He pushed a cup toward Emily. Drink, he said. Not a command. An invitation. Emily wrapped her hands around the warm mug, but didn't drink. Why did you do that? Because he needed stopping, Dominic replied simply. You don't even know me. I know enough, Dominic said. I know you came to work with a black eye and tried to smile through it. I know you were terrified when he walked in. I know you've been covering for him long enough that lying has become automatic. Emily's eyes filled with tears. He wasn't always like this. When we first met, he was different. Kind. Attentive. He made me feel special. They always do, Dominic said quietly. In the beginning. You sound like you've seen this before. Dominic's expression darkened. My sister, Sophia. She married a man who seemed perfect. Charming. Successful. 6 months into the marriage, she showed up at my door with broken ribs and a fractured jaw. Said she fell down the stairs. Emily's breath caught. What did you do? What I should have done the first time I suspected, Dominic said. I made sure he never touched her again. The way he said it made Emily's stomach drop. You killed him. I protected my sister, Dominic corrected. The details don't matter. What matters is she's alive. She's safe. She rebuilt her life. That's what you're going to do. I can't just rebuild, Emily said desperately. Derek knows where I live, where I work, where my mother lives. He's not going to let this go. When he makes bail. He's not making bail, Dominic interrupted. You don't know that. Yes, I do, Dominic said with certainty. Because I'm going to make sure the charges stick. Assault, battery, criminal threats. And if that's not enough, I have people who can find other reasons to keep him locked up. Emily stared at him. You're talking about using your connections. Your power. Why would you do that for me? For a waitress you just met. Dominic was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that surprised them both. Because I'm tired of watching men like him destroy women like you. I've built an empire on violence. On fear. On making people do what I want through force. But Derek? He's a different kind of monster. He doesn't have power. He steals it from people weaker than him. And I'm done watching that happen. Emily's tears finally spilled over. I don't know what to say. Say you'll let me help you, Dominic replied. Say you'll accept protection until Derek is dealt with permanently. Protection from a mafia boss. Emily laughed bitterly. That's insane. More insane than going back to your apartment alone and waiting for Derek to break down your door. Emily went pale. Because he was right. Derek would come for her. Maybe not tonight while he was in custody, but eventually. And when he did, he wouldn't just hit her. He'd kill her. What kind of protection are you offering? Emily asked carefully. A safe place to stay. Security. Money for anything you need. And most importantly, the assurance that Derek will never get near you again. In exchange for what? Emily asked. Men like you don't help people for free. Dominic smiled slightly. Smart. You're right to ask. But Emily, I don't want anything from you. No favors. No debts. No strings. I'm offering help because it's the right thing to do. The right thing, Emily repeated. A mafia boss doing the right thing. Even criminals have lines they won't cross, Dominic said. Hurting women is mine. Before Emily could respond, the office door opened. A man entered. Tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of alertness that came from years of watching for threats. He nodded to Dominic. Boss, we've got a situation. What kind of situation, Vincent? Dominic asked. Vincent glanced at Emily, then back to Dominic. Derek Raines made bail an hour ago. Emily's blood turned to ice. What? How? You said he wouldn't. Someone posted his bond, Vincent continued. $5,000. Cash. Anonymous. Dominic's expression went hard. Who? Still tracking that down. But boss, there's more. Derek's phone records came through. He made 3 calls from the police station. 1 to his lawyer. 1 to a number we can't trace. And 1 to someone named Marcus Chun. Dominic went very still. Marcus Chun. You know him? Emily asked. He's a loan shark, Vincent replied. Low-level operation, but connected to some nasty people. If Derek's in debt to Chun, that explains the pressure he's been under. And why he's been taking it out on you, Dominic said to Emily. Men like Derek, when they feel powerless in one part of their life, they exert control wherever they can. Emily stood up abruptly. I need to leave. Now. If Derek's out, if he's connected to dangerous people, I can't stay here. You're right, Dominic agreed. Vincent, bring the car around. Emily's coming with us. Where are we going? Emily demanded. Somewhere Derek won't find you, Dominic said. Somewhere safe. 20 minutes later, Emily sat in the back of a black SUV with tinted windows. Dominic beside her. Vincent driving. 2 more vehicles followed behind them. Security, Vincent had explained. Standard protocol. They drove through the city, away from Emily's neighborhood, away from the diner, into an area she'd only seen in magazines. Estate homes. Gated communities. The kind of wealth that insulated people from the real world. The SUV turned into a private drive. Gates opened automatically. A mansion appeared at the end of a tree-lined road. Not ostentatious. Not flashy. But undeniably expensive. "This is your home?" Emily asked. "One of them," Dominic replied. "You'll stay in the guest house. It's private. Secure. No one gets on this property without my knowledge." The guest house was larger than Emily's entire apartment. 2 bedrooms. Full kitchen. Living room with furniture that probably cost more than she made in a year. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking gardens that looked professionally maintained. "This is too much," Emily said, overwhelmed. "It's necessary," Dominic corrected. "Vincent will post guards outside. 2 men, 12-hour shifts. They're under orders to keep you safe, not to restrict your movement. You're free to go anywhere on the property. But Emily, don't leave without telling someone. Derek is out there. And if he's connected to Marcus Chun, he has resources we need to account for." Emily sank onto the couch. Everything was happening too fast. This morning she'd been a waitress trying to survive one more day. Now she was under the protection of a mafia boss in a guest house that cost more than she'd see in a lifetime. "I don't understand why you're doing this," Emily said quietly. Dominic sat across from her. "My sister Sophia. After she left her husband, she had nothing. No money. No home. No support. She tried to rebuild, but he kept finding her. Kept threatening her. She lived in fear for 2 years. Even after I dealt with him, the damage was done. She still flinches when doors slam. Still checks over her shoulder. Still has nightmares." "Where is she now?" Emily asked. "California. Married to a good man. 2 kids. But she lost years of her life to fear. I can't give her those years back. But I can make sure you don't lose yours." Emily's chest tightened. "You really mean that?" "Every word." Dominic stood. "Get some rest. Tomorrow we'll figure out next steps. But tonight, you're safe. That's all that matters." He was almost to the door when Emily spoke. "Dominic." He turned back. "Thank you," she said. "I know that doesn't cover what you've done. But thank you." Dominic nodded. Then he was gone. Emily sat alone in the guest house, surrounded by luxury she'd never imagined. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her stomach dropped. She knew who it was before she even opened the message. "You're dead. You and whoever helped you. I'm coming for both of you." Emily's hands started shaking again. She stood, walked to the window, saw the guards Dominic had mentioned, saw the security cameras, saw the high walls surrounding the property. For the first time in 3 years, she felt something other than fear. She felt hope. Outside, Dominic stood on his balcony, phone to his ear. "I want everything on Derek Rains and Marcus Chun. Every debt. Every connection. Every place they operate. I want it by morning." "Boss," Vincent's voice came through. "If we go after Chun, we're stepping into territory that's not ours. Could start problems." "Then we'll deal with the problems," Dominic said coldly. "Derek Rains threatened a woman under my protection. That's a death sentence. He just doesn't know it yet." He hung up, looked back at the guest house, where lights still burned. Emily Brooks had walked into his life by accident. A waitress with bruises trying to survive. Now she was his responsibility. His to protect. And Dominic Caruso protected what was his. By any means necessary. Emily woke to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows. For a disorienting moment, she forgot where she was. Then memory crashed back. The diner. Derek. Dominic Caruso breaking Derek's arm. The threats. The guest house. She sat up slowly, her body aching from tension she'd carried for so long it had become part of her. A soft knock at the door made her jump. "Miss Brooks." A woman's voice. Calm. Professional. "I'm Maria. Mr. Caruso sent me to help you get settled. May I come in?" Emily wrapped the blanket around herself. "Yes." The woman who entered was in her 50s, with kind eyes and the efficient manner of someone who'd been managing households for decades. She carried shopping bags. Multiple bags. "Mr. Caruso thought you might need some things," Maria said, setting the bags on the coffee table. "Clothes. Toiletries. I estimated your size, but if anything doesn't fit, we'll exchange it." Emily stared at the bags. "This is too much." Mr. Caruso was very clear, Maria replied. You're a guest here. That means you're taken care of. Now, I've prepared breakfast in the main house. Whenever you're ready, Vincent will walk you over. An hour later, showered and dressed in clothes that actually fit for the first time in years, Emily followed Vincent through the gardens to the main house. The dining room was elegant but not ostentatious. Dominic sat at the head of a long table, reading something on his tablet, a cup of coffee beside him. He looked up when she entered. Emily, please sit. I hope you slept well. Better than I have in months, Emily admitted, taking a seat. Thank you for the clothes. And for everything else. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. You won't, Dominic said simply. Because this isn't a debt. It's protection. There's a difference. Maria brought food. Real food. Eggs cooked perfectly. Fresh fruit. Toast with butter that actually tasted like butter. Emily ate slowly, aware that Dominic was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. We need to talk about Derek, Dominic said finally. And Marcus Chun. Emily's appetite disappeared. What about them? Derek owes Chun $60,000, Dominic explained. Gambling debts accumulated over the past year. Chen's been squeezing him, which is likely why Derek became more violent. Men under pressure find outlets. You were his. Emily's hands clenched. So this is my fault. I was just convenient. It's not your fault, Dominic said firmly. Derek made choices. He chose to gamble. He chose to borrow from dangerous people. He chose to take his failures out on you. None of that is your responsibility. What happens now? Emily asked. Now we end it, Dominic replied. Permanently. What does that mean? Dominic set down his coffee. It means Derek needs to understand that coming after you will cost him more than he's willing to pay. And Marcus Chun needs to understand that Derek is off limits. You're going to confront them, Emily said. That's dangerous. It's necessary, Dominic corrected. Emily, men like Derek don't stop because you ask nicely. They don't respond to restraining orders or police warnings. They respond to power, to consequences. I'm going to provide both. Before Emily could respond, Vincent entered the dining room quickly. Boss, we've got movement. Derek showed up at Emily's apartment 20 minutes ago, broke down the door, destroyed the place looking for her. Neighbors called it in, but he was gone before police arrived. Emily's face went pale. My things. My mother's jewelry. It was all I had left of her. We'll get it back, Dominic promised. Vincent, where's Derek now? Tracked him to a bar on 5th Street. Chen's territory. He's meeting with someone. We've got eyes on him. Dominic stood. Good. Keep watching. I want to know everyone he talks to, everywhere he goes. Boss, there's something else, Vincent said carefully. Chen knows we're looking into this. Word travels. He sent a message requesting a meeting. With me? Dominic asked. With you, Vincent confirmed. Neutral ground. Tonight at 9. He wants to discuss the Derek situation. Dominic's expression was unreadable. Interesting. Tell Chen I accept. After Vincent left, Emily stood abruptly. You can't meet with him. This Chen person, he's dangerous. You said so yourself. He's dangerous to people without power, Dominic replied. I'm not one of those people. But if something happens to you, if Derek or Chan, nothing will happen to me. Dominic interrupted gently. Emily, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know how to handle men like Chan. That's not the point, Emily said, frustration rising. The point is you're putting yourself at risk for me. For someone you don't even know. Dominic moved closer. Not threatening, but intense. I know enough. I know you're brave. You came to work beaten and still smiled at customers. I know you're strong. You survived 3 years with Derek. I know you're worth protecting. That's all I need to know. Emily's eyes filled with tears. Why do you see that when no one else does? Because I'm looking, Dominic said simply. The moment was broken by Emily's phone buzzing. She pulled it out. Another message from Derek. I know you're with him. The Mafia boss from the diner. You think he'll protect you? He'll get tired of you. Then you'll have nowhere to run. And I'll be waiting. Emily's hands shook. Dominic took the phone gently, read the message, his jaw tightening. Vincent, Dominic called. When his lieutenant appeared, Dominic handed him the phone. Trace this. Find out what tower it's pinging off. And pull all of Derek's call records from the past 24 hours. On it, boss. Dominic turned back to Emily. You're not going anywhere. You're staying here where it's safe. I need you to trust me. I do, Emily whispered. That's what scares me. That evening, Dominic prepared for the meeting with Marcus Chen. He dressed carefully. Expensive suit. Nothing flashy. projecting power without arrogance. Vincent briefed him on Chin's operation. Mid-level loan sharking, some drug distribution, connections to larger organizations, but not formally affiliated. Chin's smart, Vincent said. He won't make a move against you directly. Too risky. But he might try to leverage Derek. Use him as a pawn. Then we remove the pawn, Dominic said simply. The meeting location was a restaurant Chin owned. High-end. Private room in the back. Dominic arrived exactly on time. 2 bodyguards with him. Chin had 4. Marcus Chun was in his 50s, impeccably dressed, with the careful courtesy of someone who'd survived in a dangerous business through intelligence rather than violence. Mr. Caruso. Chin stood, extending a hand. Thank you for coming. Dominic shook it. Firm but not aggressive. Mr. Chun. You wanted to discuss Derek Rains. Derek's a problem, Chin said once they were seated. He owes me money. 60,000. He's been promising payment for months, but delivers nothing. Now I hear you've taken an interest in him. In his victim, Dominic corrected. The woman he's been beating. Chin nodded slowly. I heard about the incident at the diner. Derek was foolish to draw attention like that. Bad for business. He's bad for more than business, Dominic said. He's a threat to someone under my protection. That makes him my problem. Which is why I wanted to meet, Chin replied. Derek's debt is substantial. I can't just write it off. But I also don't want conflict with the Caruso family over one pathetic wife beater. What are you proposing? Dominic asked. A trade, Chin said. I'll forgive Derek's debt. Make it clear he's no longer associated with my operations. In exchange, you ensure he disappears from this city. Permanently. No bodies. No investigations. Just gone. Dominic studied Chin carefully. You want me to handle your problem? I want us both to solve our problems, Chin corrected. Derek gets a chance to start over somewhere else. The woman gets safety. You and I avoid unnecessary conflict. Everyone wins. Except Derek still breathes, Dominic said coldly. Chin's expression didn't change. Mr. Caruso, I understand your anger. But killing Derek brings heat neither of us need. Police asking questions. Federal attention. Better to make him disappear. There are places a man like Derek can go where he'll never bother anyone again. Dominic was quiet for a long moment. Chin's proposal was logical. Practical. It solved multiple problems without creating new ones. But something about it felt wrong. I'll consider it, Dominic said finally. Give me 24 hours. Fair enough. Chin stood, extending his hand again. I hope we can resolve this peacefully, Mr. Caruso. I've always respected the Caruso family's operations. I'd hate for this to damage our relationship. Back in the car, Vincent looked at Dominic. You're not taking the deal. No, Dominic confirmed. I'm not. Why not? It's clean. Solves everything. Because Emily doesn't get justice, Dominic said. She gets Derek relocated somewhere he can find new victims. That's not protection. That's postponement. So what's the play? Dominic's expression went hard. We find Derek. We give Emily the choice of what happens to him. And we make sure whatever she chooses, he never hurts anyone again. Vincent nodded slowly. That's not going to sit well with Chun. Then Chun and I will have a different conversation, Dominic replied. When Dominic returned to the estate, he found Emily in the guest house, staring at her phone. She looked up when he entered. Derek called, she said quietly. From a burner phone. Said he knows I'm here. Said he's coming for me tonight. Dominic's blood went cold. When, 20 minutes ago, Emily whispered. I didn't answer, but he left a voicemail. Dominic, he sounded different. Desperate. Dangerous. Dominic pulled out his phone. Vincent, locked down the property. Full security protocol. Derek made contact with Emily. He might try something tonight. Within minutes, the estate transformed. Guards doubled. Cameras checked. Every entry point secured. Dominic moved Emily to a safe room in the main house. Reinforced walls. No windows. Controlled access. You'll stay here until we locate Derek, Dominic said. This is insane, Emily said. I'm hiding in a panic room because my ex-boyfriend won't let me go. You're surviving, Dominic corrected. That's what matters. An alarm sounded. Vincent's voice came through the security system. Boss, we've got a breach. East perimeter. Single target. Male. Matches Derek's description. Dominic's hand went to his weapon. Stay here. Don't open this door for anyone but me. Dominic, wait. But he was already gone. Moving through the house with practiced efficiency. He found Vincent in the security room, watching monitors. Where is he? Dominic demanded. Lost him near the gardens, Vincent said. He's good. Knows how to avoid cameras. Or someone taught him, Dominic said grimly. Chun, you think Chin sent him? I think Chin's playing both sides, Dominic replied, offering me a deal while giving Derek the resources to attack. If Derek kills Emily, Chin gets his money. If I kill Derek, Chin avoids the debt. Either way, Chin wins. That's bold, Vincent said. It's stupid, Dominic corrected. Because now I'm coming for both of them. Movement on one of the monitors. Derek, emerging from shadows near the main house. He had something in his hand. Too small to be a gun. Vincent zoomed in. Knife, Vincent confirmed. And he's heading for the safe room. Dominic was already moving. Dominic moved through the mansion with lethal precision. Every instinct honed over 20 years of surviving in a world where hesitation meant death. He could hear Derek ahead, footsteps uneven, breathing heavy. The man was panicked. Desperate. That made him more dangerous. The safe room was at the end of the east wing. Reinforced door. Biometric lock. Derek would never get through it. But that didn't mean he wouldn't try. And the noise alone would terrify Emily. Dominic rounded the corner just as Derek reached the safe room door. He was thinner than he'd looked at the diner. Strung out. Eyes wild with the kind of desperation that came from losing everything and having nothing left to lose. Derek pounded on the door. Emily, I know you're in there. Come out and talk to me. She's not coming out, Dominic said calmly from behind him. Derek spun around, the knife visible in his hand now. A hunting knife. 8-inch blade. The kind meant to do serious damage. You, Derek spat. This is your fault. Everything was fine until you stuck your nose where it didn't belong. Everything was fine? Dominic repeated, his voice cold. Emily had a black eye. Split lip. Bruises covering her arms. That's what you call fine. She pushed me, Derek said, his voice rising. She knew I was stressed. Knew I was dealing with things. But she kept nagging. Kept questioning me. What was I supposed to do? Not hit her, Dominic said flatly. That would have been a start. Derek laughed. A broken, manic sound. Easy for you to say. You've got money. Power. Respect. I've got nothing. 60,000 in debt. No job. No future. Emily was all I had. And you took her from me. I didn't take anything, Dominic replied. You destroyed it yourself. Derek's grip tightened on the knife. I'm not leaving without her. Yes, Dominic said. You are. Derek charged. No skill. No training. Just blind rage and a sharp blade. Dominic sidestepped easily, caught Derek's wrist mid-swing, twisted. The knife clattered to the marble floor. Derek threw a wild punch. Dominic blocked it, countered with a strike to Derek's solar plexus that dropped him to his knees gasping. Stay down, Dominic warned. Derek grabbed for the knife. Dominic's foot came down on his hand. Hard. Derek screamed. The sound echoed through the hallway. Vincent arrived with 3 guards. Boss, you okay? Fine, Dominic said. Get him up. Take him to the holding room. You can't do this, Derek gasped as the guards hauled him to his feet. This is kidnapping. I'll call the cops. Call them, Dominic said coldly. Tell them you broke into my property with a weapon. See how that works out for you. Derek was dragged away, still shouting threats. Dominic waited until the hallway was quiet, then approached the safe room door. Placed his hand on the biometric scanner. The lock disengaged with a soft click. Emily sat inside, her back against the far wall, arms wrapped around her knees. She looked up when the door opened, relief flooding her face. It's over, Dominic said gently. He's in custody. Emily stood on shaky legs. What happens now? Now you decide, Dominic replied. This is your choice, Emily. Not mine. Not the court's. Yours. 20 minutes later, Emily stood outside the holding room. It was in the basement of the estate. Soundproofed. Secure. The kind of room Dominic used for interrogations. For getting answers from people who didn't want to give them. Derek sat in a chair, hands zip-tied behind him. His face was red with rage and shame. When he saw Emily, his expression twisted. Baby, listen to me, Derek started. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was out of my mind. The stress, the debt, I wasn't thinking straight. But we can fix this. We can go back to how things were. Emily just stared at him. This man who'd terrorized her for 3 years. Who'd convinced her that love meant accepting violence. That she deserved the bruises because she'd made him angry. How things were. Emily repeated quietly. You mean when you hit me for burning dinner? Or when you choked me because I talked to a male customer? Or when you broke my ribs because I asked where you'd been all night? Derek's face flushed. That's not fair. You're making it sound worse than it was. Am I? Emily's voice strengthened. Because that's exactly what happened. And you know what the worst part was? You convinced me it was my fault. That if I just tried harder, loved you better, didn't make you angry, you'd stop. But you never stopped, Derek. You just got worse. Emily, please. Derek's voice cracked. I love you. We can get help. Therapy. Whatever you need. Just don't do this. What am I doing? Emily asked. Throwing away 3 years, Derek said desperately. Throwing away everything we built together. You built nothing, Emily said. You tore everything down. My confidence. My self-worth. My belief that I deserve to be treated like a human being. You took all of that and destroyed it piece by piece. Dominic stood in the corner, silent, watching. This was Emily's moment. Her confrontation. He was just there for support. What do you want to do? Dominic asked Emily quietly. Emily looked at Derek for a long moment. This man who'd controlled her through fear. Who'd made her believe she was worthless. Who'd nearly killed her spirit. I want him gone, Emily said. Not dead. Not in prison where he'll get out eventually and come looking for me again. Just gone. Somewhere he can't hurt me or anyone else. Dominic nodded. He pulled out his phone, made a call. It's done. Arranged transport. Derek's eyes widened. Wait, what are you doing? Where are you sending me? Alaska, Dominic said simply. Remote construction site. 6-month contract. No phone. No internet. No contact with anyone outside the crew. You'll work. You'll be monitored. And if you try to leave, if you try to contact Emily, if you so much as think about coming back to this city, the consequences will be severe. You can't do this, Derek said, panic rising. This is illegal. This is kidnapping. Or, Dominic continued as if Derek hadn't spoken. I can call the police right now. Show them the security footage of you breaking into my property with a weapon. Add that to the assault charges Emily already filed. You'll do real time. 5 years minimum. And when you get out, I'll still be here. Still protecting Emily. Still watching. Derek went pale. That's not a choice. It's the only one you're getting, Dominic replied. Alaska or prison. Decide now. Derek looked between Dominic and Emily, realizing he had no leverage. No power. No options. Alaska, he whispered finally. Smart choice, Dominic said. You leave tonight. Transport's already arranged. As Derek was led away, Emily sank into a chair. The adrenaline that had kept her upright drained away, leaving her exhausted. Is it really over? She asked quietly. It's over, Dominic confirmed. Derek won't bother you again. I'll have people monitoring him. If he steps out of line, if he tries to come back, he'll disappear permanently. He knows that. It'll keep him in line. Emily looked up at Dominic. This man who'd inserted himself into her life with such force and changed everything. What about Marcus Chen? Won't he be angry you didn't take his deal? Chun and I will reach an understanding, Dominic said. He'll forgive Derek's debt in exchange for some considerations in his territory. Everyone gets what they want. Except Derek, Emily said. Derek gets his life, Dominic replied. That's more than he deserves. Emily stood slowly. Walked to where Dominic stood by the door. I don't know how to thank you. You saved my life. Gave me my freedom back. I can never repay that. You already have, Dominic said softly. You reminded me why I got into this business in the first place. To protect people who can't protect themselves. I'd lost sight of that. You brought it back. Emily's eyes filled with tears. What happens now? To me, I mean. I can't stay here forever. I need to rebuild my life. Find a job. A place to live. You can stay as long as you need, Dominic replied. And when you're ready to leave, I'll help you find a job. A safe apartment. Whatever you need to start over. But Emily, there's no rush. Take time to heal. To figure out who you are without fear. Who I am, Emily repeated. I don't even know anymore. Then find out, Dominic said. You're stronger than you think. You survived Derek. You stood up to him. You chose freedom over fear. That takes courage most people never find. Emily stepped closer. Can I ask you something? Anything. Why me? Really? I'm nobody. A waitress with a black eye. You could have ignored me. Should have ignored me. But you didn't. What? Dominic was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that surprised them both. Because when I looked at you, trying to smile through that pain, I saw my sister. I saw every woman who's ever been told she's worthless. Every victim who believed her abuser's lies. And I thought if I could save you, maybe I could balance the scales a little. Maybe I could make up for all the times I looked away. Emily's hand found his. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Dominic asked. A monster, Emily admitted. That's what everyone says about men like you. Criminals. Killers. But you're not a monster, Dominic. You're just a man trying to do the right thing in a world that makes that nearly impossible. I've done terrible things, Dominic said quietly. Things I'm not proud of. Things that keep me awake at night. But helping you? Protecting you? That's the best thing I've done in years. Emily stood on her toes, pressed a soft kiss to his cheek. Thank you. For everything. Dominic's hand came up to cup her face gently, careful of her fading bruises. You're going to be okay, Emily. Better than okay. You're going to thrive. Will I see you again? Emily asked. After I leave here? If you want to, Dominic replied. But Emily, understand something. My world is dangerous. Complicated. Being close to me puts you at risk. Are you sure that's what you want? Emily thought about it. Really thought about it. This man had saved her life. Had given her freedom. Had shown her what protection looked like when it came from strength rather than control. I'm sure, she said. 3 months later, Emily stood in her new apartment. Small but safe. In a good neighborhood with security and neighbors who smiled when they passed. She had a new job managing a bookstore. The owner, a friend of Dominic's, had given her a chance despite her limited experience. Her bruises had faded. Her confidence had returned. She'd started therapy, working through years of trauma. Started painting again, something she'd loved before Derek had told her she was wasting her time. Her phone buzzed. A text from Dominic. Dinner tonight? There's someone I'd like you to meet. Emily smiled. She'd seen Dominic regularly over the past months. Dinners. Coffee. Long conversations about everything and nothing. She'd met his sister Sophia, who'd hugged Emily like they were old friends. Who understood what survival looked like. I'll be there, Emily texted back. That evening, Emily arrived at Dominic's estate dressed in clothes she'd bought herself with money she'd earned. The confidence that came from independence radiated from her. Dominic met her at the door. You look beautiful. I feel beautiful, Emily replied. That's the difference. The someone Dominic wanted her to meet was a woman. Late 20s. Nervous eyes. A fading bruise on her jaw. Emily, this is Rachel, Dominic said. She's going through something similar to what you experienced. I thought maybe you could talk to her. Show her there's a way out. Emily looked at Rachel. Saw herself 3 months ago. Scared. Broken. Convinced there was no escape. She extended her hand. Hi, Rachel. I'm Emily. And I want to tell you something important. You're going to survive this. You're going to be okay. I know because I was where you are. And look at me now. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. How did you get out? Emily glanced at Dominic. Someone showed me I was worth saving. Now I'm going to show you the same thing. As Emily and Rachel talked, Dominic watched from across the room. Vincent approached, handed him a drink. You're doing it again, Vincent observed. Saving people. Someone has to, Dominic replied. This isn't your responsibility, boss. These women, their problems, you can't save everyone. Maybe not, Dominic agreed. But I can save some. And that has to be enough. In the corner, Emily laughed at something Rachel said. Real laughter. Free laughter. The sound of a woman who'd reclaimed her life. Dominic raised his glass in a silent toast. To survivors. To second chances. To the unexpected ways broken people could heal each other. The diner incident seemed like a lifetime ago now. But it had changed everything. Had reminded Dominic that power meant nothing if it wasn't used to protect the vulnerable. Had shown Emily that monsters could be defeated. Had proven that sometimes, salvation came from the most unexpected places. And sometimes, just sometimes, noticing someone's pain was the first step toward healing it. This story touched hearts because it shows that real strength means protecting those who can't protect themselves. If this moved you, subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories. Drop a comment telling us what moment hit you hardest, and share this with anyone who needs to know that help can come from unexpected places. Your support means everything and helps us bring more stories of courage and redemption. Thank you for watching.